His breath jerks awake before his eyes open. Pain floods his limbs as something tightens around his leg and drags him across hard concrete toward darkness. He claws at the ground and sees scaled flesh twisting around his ankle. He smashes his heel downward repeatedly until the grip loosens just enough to crawl free. He staggers upright and swings a dented bucket blindly. The creature recoils, sliding into shadow, while barking echoes from somewhere above him. Silence returns, leaving him alone at the bottom of towering concrete walls. The distance to the top reveals itself slowly, and panic arrives even slower. He limps toward a vertical ladder embedded in rusted brackets. Fingers slip on corrosion, and gravity answers with a punishing fall. His shout echoes unanswered. Above, the chained animal circles restlessly, metal links scraping like distant warning bells. A memory flickers then collapses before forming. He checks his pockets, finding nothing but dried blood and unfamiliar bruises. Movement returns near the floor's far side. The scaled body glides partially into view, measuring distance without hurry. He backs toward a circular vent and rips its cover free. Darkness breathes from within, offering direction if not comfort. The barking intensifies as he reaches inside the tunnel. Something metallic scrapes far away, then stops abruptly. He crawls partway through and finds the path blocked by fallen masonry. Turning back means meeting the creature again. When he returns, the basin floor has changed. Tracks carve lines through dust, converging toward him. He scavenges along the edge and discovers pipes leaking stagnant droplets. The taste is foul, but thirst wins. Claws scrape behind him again. He turns to see the reptile nearer now, unmoving except for its head tilting. He grabs a length of pipe and advances instead of retreating. The shift surprises even him. The reptile withdraws toward filtration shadows, disappearing with unsettling patience. Its absence feels planned. A voice suddenly calls from above. He rushes beneath the sound, shouting until his throat burns. A tall figure leans over the edge and recoils in shock. The movement ends with a slip and a falling body crashing beside him. She lies motionless, breathing shallowly. He drags her away from the open floor, listening for scales returning. From filtration darkness, the reptile emerges again, closer than before. He grips the pipe tighter, realizing escape just became heavier. He swings the pipe before the reptile closes distance. The strike lands with a hollow crack, forcing it back toward shadow. The creature retreats again, and he uses the gap to lift the woman onto a discarded foam panel. She doesn't respond. He searches her jacket and finds wrapped gauze and a sealed injector. The unfamiliar device shakes in his hand. A chain rattles above and the dog whines. He looks up, noticing a pizza box sliding along the rim from wind. The box tips and falls, bursting open near his feet. Cold food becomes strategy, not comfort. He places slices across the basin, spacing them carefully. The reptile approaches cautiously, attention divided. While it feeds, he drags the woman toward the tunnel again. The rubble still blocks passage, denying advantage. While it feeds, he drags the woman toward the tunnel again. The rubble still blocks passage, denying advantage. He hands her water dripped from pipes. She drinks without speaking, scanning walls with narrowed focus. Her eyes settle on the reptile finishing scraps. She pulls herself standing, testing balance despite shaking legs. Together they attempt the ladder wall again. Two bodies climbing shift the rust loose faster. Metal snaps. They drop hard, bruised and winded, progress erased instantly. The dog begins barking again, louder this time. A storm gathers beyond the courtyard. Rainwater trickles through filtration channels and puddles form below. They rush to gather it with containers. The reptile advances toward the new water scent. She throws debris, redirecting it long enough to seal a pipe opening. He tests the injector on himself cautiously. Strength steadies his hands afterward. They move deeper along filtration rooms seeking exits. Each doorway leads back into containment spaces. Egg-shaped objects appear clustered near machinery. The reptile notices their presence and charges. They scatter, knocking equipment behind them. The woman stumbles but regains stride before Jaws' close distance. Back at the basin, they slam a slab over the tunnel vent. Temporary separation restores breathing space. Night deepens and hunger sharpens. They cook nothing, chewing cold scraps while listening. She studies the ladder wall again, spotting dangling wire above. Hope returns uninvited. He throws pipe repeatedly until snagging it. The improvised line lowers closer. He climbs, palms tearing open. The wire holds for agonizing seconds. The metal snaps without warning. Impact steals breath and fractures momentum. He wakes later to movement near the sealed vent. The slab shifts slowly outward. They retreat while the reptile re-enters, reclaiming territory. Its patience outweighs theirs. She suggests luring it elsewhere. He reluctantly agrees, gathering scrap rods. They strike pipes repeatedly, drawing the creature toward echoing chambers. Noise becomes bait. Once distracted, they sprint back toward the ladder wall again. Timing replaces strength. She climbs onto his shoulders, stretching upward. Fingers almost catch the rim before slipping. They collapse together, exhausted. The reptile's return signals the attempt is over. Rain resumes and begins filling lower channels rapidly. Water becomes both rescue and trap. They stack debris to elevate themselves. The reptile floats closer than before. She whistles sharply toward the courtyard. The dog responds instantly, chains clattering. The animal leaps toward them and catches the edge awkwardly. Its chain tangles along the rim. He reaches up, trying to guide it down safely. Metal tension pulls violently. The chain jerks loose and drops, giving them access to its length. Relief mixes with dread silence. They anchor the chain to pipe clusters and attempt another climb. The reptile circles below in widening arcs. Halfway up, the anchoring snaps free. Both crash back into shallow water, Hope collapsing with them. Morning light reveals swelling injuries and failing strength. The basin smells sharper, and movement from the filtration side resumes. He limps toward the injector kit again, shaking. The device is empty now, and weakness spreads fast. She searches the pipes and finds sealed vials lodged beneath debris. They might help, if reachable. He crawls closer, guiding her to prepare the injection. Relief steadies his breathing after the dose. A distant clang echoes from above. Two strangers briefly cross the courtyard rim before disappearing. He climbs onto debris waving wildly. By the time his voice reaches them, silence answers back. They notice a ladder briefly left leaning above. Hope sparks violently. He rushes beneath it while water ripples nearby. The reptile bursts forward in sudden attack. He strikes repeatedly with pipe fragments. Scales crack and blood darkens water. The reptile lunges again, forcing him backward. She whistles sharply from afar. The distraction works long enough for him to grab the ladder base. It slips away across slick concrete. Rain intensifies, flooding her tunnel chamber. She pounds metal to signal urgency. Water climbs past his waist as he forces debris aside. She struggles to stay above rising levels. They retreat deeper and emerge unexpectedly into another pit. The walls mirror their prison exactly. The realization sinks fast. They have traded cages rather than escaped. Voices echo again somewhere outside. He climbs debris to shout one last time. This time, they hear nothing back. Even Hope refuses to return. The reptile surfaces through the tunnel opening behind them. Escape narrows to confrontation. He grips the longest rod available. The woman backs toward the far wall. Metal pierces scaled flesh and sticks fast. Momentum throws both apart violently. Metal pierces scaled flesh and sticks fast. Momentum throws both apart violently. He pulls again, forcing another strike. Movement from the creature slows dramatically. At last, the reptile stops thrashing. Stillness settles, permanent and earned. He collapses beside it briefly before remembering the climb still ahead. Survival hasn't ended. They drag the chain and rod toward the wall again. Planning replaces celebration. He anchors the rod into cracks and starts climbing slowly. Blood streaks concrete. Without pause he searches for tools. A heavy pipe becomes his answer. He rushes to the tunnel opening and forces it wider. Water spills out violently. He dives through and pulls her upward. Her body barely responds. He drags her onto the courtyard concrete. Movement returns gradually. She breathes sharply and grips his arm. Confirmation replaces dread. They sit facing the silent basin behind them. 7 days of danger settle into memory. He coils the chain and drops it away. Nothing inside calls them back anymore. She stands first, steady despite bruising. He follows slowly. Together they move toward the facility exit. The open gate waits ahead. They pause only once to look back. Nothing follows. They cross beyond the concrete boundary into open space. Survival becomes fact, not wish. Without speaking, they continue forward. The basin and everything within it stay behind permanently. They reach the roadside beyond the compound and finally stop moving. Distance confirms they are no longer trapped. Passing headlights slow but do not stop. He raises his arm higher until one vehicle finally pulls over. They climb into the back without explanation. Doors shut, sealing them away from the facility. City lights blur past the windows. The rhythm of movement replaces isolation. At a clinic entrance, attendants guide them out immediately. Procedures begin without hesitation. He receives fluids and monitoring equipment. His strength stabilizes at last. Across the ward, she undergoes scans and treatment. Signs confirm full survival. Days later they step outside together again. Clean air feels unfamiliar. He hands her the injector case recovered from his belongings. Responsibility passes quietly between them. They share a brief pause before leaving. Nothing from the basin remains unresolved. They walk into the street crowd together. Routine life resumes around them. Construction barriers ahead force a detour past a drainage yard. He glances once, then keeps going. She adjusts her pace beside him. Neither looks back again. Evening lights rise across storefront glass. Their reflections move steadily forward.